Hello friends, welcome back to our channel DS Tech Mirror. This is part 7 of our SPFX tutorial series. Till now, we have covered all the basic concepts of SPFX web part. From this video, I am starting with the demos. This is our first demo. In this demo, we will see how to perform CRUD operations in SharePoint list using REST API. I will keep this as a simple demo where in my list there will be only one field because this is my first demo and I want to proceed gradually. In the upcoming demos, we will see some complex scenarios involving multiple fields. Before starting with the demo, I want to cover a very small topic which I will be using in my demo, and that is Office UI Fabric React. Office UI Fabric React is the official front-end framework for building user experience for Office 365. In Office 365, you can see Microsoft nowadays is using Office UI Fabric React Control in SharePoint Online. It is the default front-end framework in a modern SharePoint. With Office UI Fabric React, you will get various controls like drop-down, buttons, labels. We can use all these controls in our SPFX line-side web part. The basic advantage you will get that it will go seamless with the new experience, the new modern experience which we are having. So my SPFX web part will go seamless with the new modern experience in the SharePoint Online. Installation command is in PPT. Go to slide 17. If you are following this tutorial regularly, you must remember that I have created a slide for all the commands. So I have added the command to install the Office UI Fabric React in that slide only. So I will go to that slide and I will show you the command. Third point is there are various control provided by Office UI Fabric React. I have already covered this, that we have various controls. Just like we have HTML controls, similarly we are having Office UI Fabric React control. In the same way, over here also we are having button, document card. Some new controls are getting introduced in Office UI Fabric React. So in my demos, I will be using these controls one by one and I will show you then and there itself the use of this Office UI Fabric controls, and you will get better understanding of this. In my today's demo, I will be using button, labels and drop downs. So these three controls I will cover in my demos and you will see how cool they are. Let me show you what we are going to develop today. This is the CRUD operation which we perform in my today's demo. You can see all these are Office UI Fabric controls. This drop down, these buttons, all these are Fabric React controls. So in today's demo, we will perform the CRUD operation. So what we will do in this drop down, I will read all the list present in my site. So this will be kind of a read operation. I will select any of the list from the drop down and I will click on this button and it will create a new item. So it will be a create operation, then similar way update operation and the delete operation. So in this way we will learn how to do CRUD operations. For the CRUD operations, I will be using REST API. By default in SharePoint framework web part, we are having SP HTTP client. We will use this class in our today's demo to do our CRUD operations. So before jumping with the demo, I will just show you the command to install Office UI Fabric React and then we will immediately start with the demo. So that is in slide number 17. I will go to the slide number 17 and over here this is the command npm install Office UI Fabric React. This is a very simple command. We will use this. We will go to the terminal, we'll type this command and it will get installed. So these are the commands which you have already used. So in future, whatever the new commands will be coming in our way, I will be keep adding them in these slides so that we'll get all the commands at one place and we can use them conveniently. So this is a blank solution which I have created. I have created this solution using React and I will be using React with REST API to do the CRUD operations. If you are not aware, if you have any doubts regarding React or how to create this solution, you can refer my earlier videos, because in this tutorial I am going step by step. So you can go through my earlier videos and then you can come back and view this video, and then it will be, if you have any doubts, it will get automatically it will get clear. So guys, in my earlier videos, in my last video, I have covered what the component is, what is the use of properties and state. So over here I will be directly using it. So let's start creating the solution. What I will do first, I will create a structure of my solution, what all I will be required. So this is my component. So if you have followed my last video, that is development with React, so you will be knowing what is component and why it is required and why we need to create state, properties and all those things. So if you are, again I am saying this, if you are not familiar with all the concept, please visit my last video, that is development with React part 6. So over here let's go forward and create the state interface, that is the new file. So what I will do, I will use the existing code. I will simply copy this file, the properties file, copy and paste it inside the component folder. Paste. Now what we will do, I will rename it. And instead of properties I will name it as state. Properties state. So now this is done. Then I will rename it over here my state interface. Inside this I have a interface. I'm creating the just a structure of it. So now next, all the CRUD methods, what I can do, inside this component file I have this txs file. So inside this file I can create all my methods like create, read, delete, update. All these methods I can directly create it, but in the production, in the actual product environment, I don't want to make this file too clumsy or too untidy. So what I'll do, I'll create a separate service file. In this I will be creating all my methods. So for that, inside this web part I will create a different folder. So you can go new folder, I'll say services, and inside this I will create a new ts file, that is new file service.ts. sp services, I will say sp services.ts file. So this is my ts file. Inside this, what I will do, I have to export it because I will be using it. So export class. This is TypeScript. Because TypeScript is the superset of the JavaScript. In TypeScript we are using the oops concept. So in oops, we simply, what we'll do, we'll create a class. This is very simple. In demo only I am teaching you the TypeScript concept also. So it's very simple. Why I am exporting it? Because all the methods which I will be creating in this file, I will be calling it from my component file, that is my tsx file. So that's why I'm exporting this class. My class name will be sp operations. It is done. Now I will create all the methods in this class. Next what I will do, I told you to, we will initiate a state in the component render method inside in the constructor. So I will go over here, I will create the constructor in my default class. Over here I will create my constructor. So all these concepts I've already covered. I'm getting an error over here. I think I missed something. There's some typo maybe. Yeah. So this bracket was missing. So constructor, and inside the constructor I told you it will be a super call because this class extends react.component. So this will be a super call, and I have to pass the properties, and over here I will make it a parameterized constructor. So this is done, and over here I will pass my state also. I react CRUD state comma. So this is done. Now inside, to initialize my state, what I will do, this dot state equal to bracket, curly bracket, and inside this I will be, whatever the properties I will decide over here, I will create over here for my state, I will initialize it in this constructor. So this is also done. So now next is service I have created. So I will import my service over here, import from. Now what I will do, double dot backslash. Now I am inside this services. So the path will be double dot slash services slash sp services. Inside this service folder I want sp services, and from sp services I will import my class, that is sp operations. This also I have imported. Now to use it, what I will do, first I will declare the name of my property. Over here I will declare a property of type sp operations. So I will say sp operations, and I will put underscore sp operation. This is not mandatory, this is just the coding standards which I am following over here. It will be of type. Now in TypeScript, in other languages you might be saying, let's say in C#, for declaring the type we say equal to. Over here we use this colon, so it will be of type sp operation. That's it. So now this sp ops will be of type sp operation. So to declare the type we use this colon in TypeScript. Next I will go inside the constructor, and I will initialize it. Underscore sp oops is equal to new sp operations. Now I can use anywhere in my code. So this is the basic structure which I have created. Another important thing I told you in my earlier videos, that we have the web part context available in only in the webpart.ts file, which is now React CRUD web. This is my ts file. So inside this only I have the web part context. I have to pass this context to the component. Without it, I will not get the web part context. So to do that, I already told you that we will use properties for that. That is this property. So what I will do over here, I will declare one property, that is context, and it will be of type web part context, and automatically it got imported at the top. Now this web part context come from this library, Microsoft/sp web part base. So now I have to pass the reference. I will go to this webpart.ts file. I told you I already covered this, that to pass the properties we will pass it from here. Now property I have created context. Now I have to assign the value over here, this dot context. Now this dot context is the web part context which I am having only in this file. To use it in any other file I have to pass it from here. You can see base client side web part. This is the context which I am having. Now I have passed this context to my web part to my React properties, and I can use in my component using this dot props dot context. So I can use it over here. So this is also done. I think I have built the basic structure to start with my CRUD operations. Now what I will do, I will run gulp serve and I will see now how my solution, how my web part is looking right now, and then we'll start working on the UI and start building it. So for that I will run gulp serve. I will go to the terminal, control tilt, and I will run gulp serve from here. Gulp serve, it automatically opened the local workbench. Over here I will add my web part. My web part name is React CRUD, and this is right now how my web part is looking. So now I will work on the UI. We will work on the UI. We will see how to work with the .scss file and all these things, and then we will add the controls over here, the Office UI Fabric React control. Okay, so let's go back to the code. Now you can see over here, this is welcome.sharepoint and all these things. So first let's modify these things. Let's change this message from welcome to SharePoint to welcome to DS Tech Mirror. Then now this is title. Over here you can see I will open the sc.scss file. Over here you can see all the CSS is automatically defined over here. Dot title. So all the font style, font color, subtitle, all this is defined. Now I will add my own styles over here and I will show you how we can do that. So this is, now I will change the subtitle. Subtitle will be, apart from the CRUD operation, in this demo I am also covering the concepts of the Office UI Fabric and the styling part, that is .scss file. And this is also our first demo, so you will get more clear about the properties, about the state of the basic concept which we discussed about React in earlier videos. So now my gulp serve is running. I think let's go back and check. Now it got refreshed, so you can see welcome.ds tech mirror demo, and I got the message. Now what I will do, I will now delete this part. I don't need this part, style description, all this I don't need. This anchor tag also I don't need. I will delete this. Now over here just try to understand this. Over here we have this container. Inside the container I have this row, and inside this I have a column. This column I am having. So what I will do, now I will create another column, div. So this will be my another column. Over here to define the class we use class name. Class name equal to, and just, okay, I think there was some typo, I will undo. Okay, class name equal to, and style, you will do styles dot, and automatically you will get the intelligence, and from here you can select the class, that is style dot column. I will use style dot column. This class is also predefined for now. To create the columns, to create the new column, I will be using the same class. So all the properties, if I want to change over here, inside this I have the row, and inside row I am having the columns. So inside row you can see this background color is defined. Let's say I want to change the background color. I will change the background color for this my CRUD operation. So now it is maroon. So let's save, and we will see the changes in the UI, because my gulp serve is already running. So I'll go over here and it will get refreshed, and then after changing, after this I will also apply some styling to my title and subtitle. See over here, now it is looking cool. I have got this color. So this is my title class which I already covered. Over here you can see this is title and this is subtitle. So now I will go to this SCSS file. Inside this I have the title. So now over here I want to modify my title. So first go back and see over here. You can see over here if I want to make it bold, because this is the title, I want to make it bold. So in my title what I will do, and then this is my font style, color is color white. I will go with white only, and then I want to give margin left. So I will give the margin left, this margin from the left, and let's say 100 pixels, and now I will save. And similarly I will apply some changes to the subtitle also. I will give font weight bold, and then font size is this is the font size. Over here it is XL and this is L, and font color is white. First we will see how these changes are looking, and then we will make more change if anything more is required. So let's wait for the Gulf serve to get completed. Over here you can see the changes are getting reflected. Over here we'll explore one more thing. This is the font by default. These are the new things which are there in SCSS file. At the rate, if I'll go and type at the rate include, and I will get all the intelligence. So if I type MS, the default styling classes which are available, I can use MS grid, MS font size. If I want to give my own font size, so what I will do, I will delete this from here and I will type font size. I will give 17 pixel. Now this is the div which I have created. In this I will name it as parent div. ID I will give it as parent div. So I'll say div underscore parent. So this is my div. Inside this I will put my more controls, and I'll start with the drop down, and I told you I will be using Office UI Fabric drop down. For that, import. I have not typed that command for installing, because now if you create this solution using React, automatically your Office UI Fabric that will get installed. But if you want to install it separately over anywhere where it is not installed, so I have shared the command with you. So over here I will directly import it from double quote Office UI Fabric React. Now over here I have to import the control which I want. I want drop down, so simply I will type drop down, drop down. So this is my drop down. Enter. Okay, so now I can use drop down over here. So I'll go with drop down, and you can see this is the Office UI Fabric drop down. In this I'm getting an error because I want to define certain properties for this. Over here you can see property option is missing. That is mandatory property for this, so I have to supply the property over here, and then only this error will get resolved. So I have to apply this property called options, and over here if I give this array, now it will give me an error over here that JSX attribute must be assigned with a non-empty expression. Okay, over here even if I apply some value, if I add some value, then I'm getting an error. Type string is not assignable to type I drop down option. Over here you can see, or it is giving us a descriptive error that it needs property I drop down option. That for this option I have to supply the properties that belongs to my interface I drop down. So what I will do for now, because I will populate this drop down dynamically with the total number of lists which are present in my set collection. So for now what I will do, just to get resolve this error and move forward, for now I will define one option. Let's say let option type I drop down option. Now to even use I drop down option, I'll click over here and then I can give the blank array, and also I want to import it at the top. So in the quick fix it will show me over here, so it automatically get added over here, and now over here I can assign it over here. So this is option inside this OP. So guys, this is my Office UI Fabric drop down. Over here you can see, and since there are no options, I have not provided any options to it, so it is coming as blank. But the main thing is the location, the UI is not proper, because I want to display it below this message. This is my div which I have created, div underscore parent, and this is the div which was there, the column div. So here you can see the width of this column is less because of which my content is not coming as single line. And so guys, you can see over here, as soon as I give width 100%, both the issues got resolved. My subtitle is coming in a single line, then my drop down is coming properly now. So both the issues got resolved together. And for this, what I have to do now, I will go to my styling file, and over here I will increase the width. So I increase the width for the column, and this is my column. Over here I will type width. Now we will work on the drop down and other controls. Go back to the code over there, and in this div I have also introduced a class over here, because I would require to provide the styling. And what I will do, at the top we have over here, I will give a class name called my styles, and inside this I will define all the classes my styles, my styles, and in this I will do, and I will use this my styles over here class name. What I will do, I will declare the width only, because for this also I need width 100% for the next div which I have created. Now I will save it, and I want to see over here. What I will do, I will delete. Now class name is equal to styles dot my styles. So over here now we are getting the intelligence. Now if you are wondering what is this style is, over here at the top we have imported all the style. This file we have imported. So by default it was automatically got imported by default react color.module.scss styles. That's why we are using this style and the class name. So this is the SCS is also the superset of CSS. This in this also it gives various features, like we can declare a variable inside it and the intelligence it is giving us. So this is the new way of styling. So you can use this in SPFX. You can use the normal CSS file also, but we will use the SCSS file, and you can see it is the same way we are working. There's no difference. The only difference is a class name and curly bracket style dot the class name. This is the only difference, and it is more powerful also. You can see over here I have declared this class called my style. Now I want all my styles, all the custom style which I will be declaring to be appear under this class only. So what I will do, what I can do over here, I can declare this drop down and it will work. This class width, I will say width 50%, because over there we saw like my drop down is coming very wide, so I would like to reduce the width, so width is 50%. So like this I can do. So this is, it is very powerful and useful. So I will go with SCSS. If you are not comfortable, you can use CSS file also, but I will recommend to go with SCSS file, because after one or two demos you will get very comfortable with it. So now what we will do, this is done. Now in this drop down also I will assign this class in the same way, class name equal to styles dot drop down. So this is my drop down. Now I will save and will go and see the changes in my browser. So over here you can see now my drop down is looking properly. It just I have to give the margin left to bring it to the center. For that what I will do, I will again go to my drop down class. Now inside my styles, all my styles which I will be creating, I will create under this class and I will use it 170 pixels. So in the same way we will create the styling for the buttons, which will be creating like the create button, update button, delete button. But before that, now our next target will be to populate this drop down. And so you will see how to populate the drop down. Now it is looking fine. Now come back to the code. Now we'll start the coding for this drop down. So in the drop down, what we have to do next is to populate it with the options. Over here I just provide this blank option just to overcome the error. But now what I will do, I will get the all the list present in my site collection, and I will assign it to this option, and I will assign it to the option. So now let's see how we will do that. So guys, now we will see how to get all the list. So I already told you, to get all the list present in my site collection, I will write that code over here. So let's say I will create the method over here, public method, my list name will be get all lists. So this is my method. Inside this I will write. Now next big question is, from where I will call this method. Now I have to call this method from my component file. My component file is the tsx file. Now from here, from where I should call this method. If I call from render method, should I call it from render method? Should I call it from the constructor? From where I should call it? And another thing is how I will set this options. So there are two big questions in front of us. Now first is, now to set this option, what I will do, I will make use of the state. So what I will do, in this state I will go and I will create first one, that is options, and it will be of type I drop down options, because over there it asks for I drop this type of options only. So I drop down option, and automatically at the top it got imported. Now this I declared. Next is, in this I have to initialize it. So options, and I will initialize it as a blank array. Now instead of option I will declare it as list title, because I will be getting the list title. So in the code it will be more understandable when I will use it. So instead of options I will name it as list titles. So it will be of type array, and I will assign it as an I drop down option, and I will declare it as an array because there are multiple lists which will be coming to a way. So this is my list title, and over here I have to initialize it, and over here I will rename it because over there I have declared list title. So this is my list title. So what I did, I just created another state, that is list title. In this what I will do, I will fetch all the list titles, and in the constructor I will initialize it. So I will put all my list title into this, and over here I will assign it. So I will use this dot state dot list title. So what I will be doing, I will be getting the list title, I will be setting the state, and as soon as I will set my state, this dot set state, I told you render method will get called and my drop down will get populated with the options. So this will be the flow. So now one thing we have covered, like how we are going to populate our options. For that I am using this state and I have created this list title. So this is the first actual requirement which I have covered. If you are confused with the state, how and where to use the state, so over here I am using the state to populate my drop down, because what I will do, I will use this dot set state, and whenever I will use this dot set state, my render method will get called, and at that time my drop down will get populated. So now next thing is from where I will call that method called get all list. For that, in my last video I covered the React lifecycle. In this I told you I will be using component did mount method, because that method will get called at last. After this my render method will get called, then only my component method will get called. So over here I will declare component public component did mount. So I will use this method. See, in this method I will call I will call the method which is in my service list, that is get all list. So what I will do, this dot, I've already created the object for my service, this dot underscore service sp ops. If I have to use directly sp ops underscore sp, yeah, so this dot sp ops dot. See, in my last video I covered this React lifecycle. First of all, component will mount will get called, then the constructor, then the rendered, and at last component did mount. So now over here I'm trying to relate the theory and the concept. So first of all, component will mount will get called. We are not using that method over here because it is not required. After that, this constructor will get called. Definitely this constructor will be the first thing which will get called. Now in the constructor we are just initializing the state and all. After that the render method will get called, my render will get called, my drop down will get be rendered in my page, in my web part, and after that at last component did mount. In the component did mount I am calling this method, so it will get all the method, and then in the component did mount, after getting all this I will do this dot set state. Now because of this dot set state, because whenever I will call this dot set state, it will call my render method again. Because of this dot set state, my render method will get called, and then the next time it will populate the options. That's why I called this method in component did mount. Now we will, now next thing is I've got the, I told you context is only available in webpart.ts file. I have passed it context from here to my component. So in the component it is present in my properties. So I'll say this dot props dot context. Now next thing is I want to pass this context to the service also, because in service I do not have any context. So I will use it over here, context, and then web part context, and I have to import this web part context over here at the top. To import it, I'll say import. I'll do all the imports at the top. Import. Now this is at the rate Microsoft slash web part base, Microsoft sp web part base hyphen web part base. From this I want to import web part context. So this is my web part context. I will expand it and I will say web part context. So see this, I told you colon is used to set the type of my variable. So this is my variable context, it is of type web part context, and I am passing it from my component did mount method, which is present in my component file, tx file. From here I am passing it. If you are getting confused, you can create this method in the same file also, then you don't need to pass anything like this. But in your actual project you have to create a separate service file, because you cannot put all the methods, because with time you will create more modules and your web part will grow bigger and bigger. So you have to do this modular approach. So it will be better if you learn from the beginning only, if you start developing all the good coding practices from the beginning. So now we have called this method, we have passed the context also. So the now we have to, from in this method, now the next thing we have to do, we have to just call our all the list. For that what I will do, I told you I will use REST API, and for REST API I told you I will be using SP HTTP client. Now to use SP HTTP client I have to import it. It's as simple as that. Now to import it I will go at the top, import from, I will do add Microsoft slash sp hyphen HTTP. So in this my SP HTTP client is available. I will import SP HTTP client. See, now I will use this. Coming to this method, I will use this context. So context dot. Now see, with this context only HTTP client is there. Context dot the instance of HTTP client created for this instance of the component to interact with the SharePoint. See, context dot SP HTTP client. We have to get all the lists dot. So I will use this get method. Now carefully watch the parameters for this get method. First is the URL string, the REST API, then the configuration, SP HTTP client configuration, and then the options which we have to provide. So we will provide, and option is parameter. This question mark means this is the optional parameter. So now we will step by step we will provide all the options. First is the URL, next is the configuration. In configuration, just make use of this the description SP HTTP client dot configuration dot, we will use v1. Every time you have to just supply this, and then the options will be of type SP HTTP client options. So these will be my options. So now this is the method, and now we will create these two parameter. One is the REST API URL, and this is the last is the option. We have to just create these two, and we will pass it, and then we will get all the list titles, and then we will pass those list title to a drop down. So now I will generate my list URL. So I will type, to construct the REST API URL to get all the list. Over here I will declare one variable, and I will define its type as let REST API URL. It will be of type string, and over here I will generate my URL. So first of all I will get the site URL. To get the site URL I will use this context object, that is context dot. We are passing this context from my component file, and in the component, again I'm telling you, in the component I'm passing it from my webpart file, that is webpart.txt file, and in our case it is react red webpart.ts file. So context dot page context dot web dot absolute URL. Now this will give me the URL of my site. After that I will construct my URL under slash. First of all, don't forget to put this slash, because many times I have made this typo mistake and I have to struggle a bit to find this error. So you have to put this slash underscore API slash web slash lists. So now it will give me all the lists. Now from the list, what I want only the title. So what I will do, I will type select equal to title. So this is my REST API URL. This URL will give me the title of all the lists present in my site collection. Now what will be my site collection, where I will host where I will deploy my current web part, SharePoint client side web part, which I am developing. So what it will do, I will deploy this page. I will deploy this web part on a page. From this it will get context.page context.web.absolute URL. It will give me the absolute URL of my site collection. Then after that I have appended it underscore API slash web slash list question mark, this is query string, select is equal to title. So my REST API URL is ready. Now I will pass it over here. Context.sp HTTP client. First parameter is REST API URL. Second parameter is the configuration. I told you have to pass this sp HTTP client.configuration.v1. Now this is a get request. So and the third is my headers, and that is optional. So since it is a get request, I will not pass any header, and then I will write the next line of code. Now till now I have written. Now next what I have to do is I will do dot. Now then once I get all the title, what I have to do, so in the then what I will do, I will get the results. So just please carefully watch the syntax. What I am doing is I will write it again dot then. Inside then I am putting one more bracket. Inside that what I am doing, I will get the result. Now result I will get the response. So initially I will get the response of type SP HTTP client response, and over here I have to import it to use it here. So I will type SP HTTP client response, and now I can use it over here. So it will be response dot colon, I told you it is used for type SP HTTP client response. So now I got the response and it will be of type SP HTTP client response. And then I told you arrow functions in my previous video. So arrow and then this bracket. So this is the syntax which I have to follow. Maybe for the first time it looks a bit complex to you, but with practice you will get into the habit, and it is very easy. What you have to do then, inside then just put this one more bracket, This is the response which you will get. It will be of type SP HTTP client response arrow function, and inside this I will write my next line of code. So what I will do, first of all, now I will get this response and I will convert this response into JSON, response.json. And once the response get converted into JSON dot, then again the same syntax, one bracket, arrow function, arrow, and then this my curly braces. Now inside this I will get the result. So I will say result type. For now I am declaring the type as any, and inside I will use the result. So this is the basic syntax of writing the HTTP request in SPFX web part. So it is really very simple. It just after writing one or two methods you will get into the flow and you will write these methods very easily. But you can observe one thing, with very less piece of code we are writing all the functionality, because if you write the same piece of code in GSOM or CSOM, the number of line of code will be much more than this. Over here it is very less. So let's move forward. Now I will make some changes in my method. First change I will make over here, if you observe, I told you in my drop down in the form of options. Now what I will do, I will give it in, I will pass an array to it with the list of title. Now my array should be of type I drop down options. So from here my method should return, I will go to my service. My method should return I drop down option. Then only in the component did mount, where from where I am calling my method, over here I am calling my method. So it will get the I drop down options and I can give it to my drop down. So what I will first change I will make over here, first change I will make it to the return type of my method. So it should return a promise of type I drop down option. It automatically got imported at the top. Now it is giving me an error. It is giving me an error because there is no return statement over here. So what we will do, just over here, just watch closely. It's a bit tricky. Not tricky, it's just the first time you're seeing this, or if you're new to the SPFX. So for the initial phase it might look a bit complex to you, so but it is very simple if you go step by step. So see, these lines are fine. Over here what I will do, I'm saying my method will return a promise. So over here I have to return a promise. To return a promise I will say return new promise. So return new promise, and what should be the type of the promise? I drop down option. Correct over here. Now this is fine. After this what I have to do, inside this I have to pass two methods, all these, and the type will be async. One is the resolve. What will happen if my promise get resolved, and what will happen if my promise get rejected. So my promise returns two things, resolve and the reject. So I will handle these two things over here, resolve comma reject, and again the arrow functions. See, again it is very simple, but for you inside this I will write my entire method. My method this line of code I will write inside this. So I will cut it and over here I will paste it. So now my method will return I drop down option, and from where it will return? It will return it from here, because in the result I am getting all the things. Now before formatting a result, because we are getting a result in this variable, so I will name it as results, because there will be multiple list title. So I will get all my list title in this, and I have to format it. So how I will format it? But before that, just to make you more clarification, I will show you in my browser console how my result will come. So for that what I will do, I will save this method, and now I will run the limited piece of code whatever I have written, and I will show you in the browser. For that what I will do, I will do console.log. In the console.log you can see the format in which I am getting the result, and then we will format it as per our requirement, as per the desired result we want. Then we will see how to get the title out of this results. So now already my gulp.serve is running in the background. What I will do, I will go to the workbench. Now we are interacting with the SharePoint, and in my earlier videos, maybe in the part 3 or 4, I told you that in my local workbench I do not have SharePoint context. So now from now onwards I will test it into SharePoint workbench. If you are not aware about local workbench and SharePoint workbench, then you have to go to my earlier videos. So now what I will do, I will add my web part over here. My web part name is React CRUD. This is my web part, and you can see over here. Now I will press F12, and in the console I will go to the console. So now in the console over here you can see I'm getting the result in this over here. You can see sp.service.ts file. If I press over here, it will take you to this where I have console my log. It's the console.log result. Now in the console I will show you in this format I'm getting my result. I'm getting the 28 arrays. If I expand it, you can see inside this I have value, and inside this value I have 28 arrays, and inside this if I expand one by one I have to fetch this title. I will be having title over here. See, these are my list name. So what I have to do, I have to iterate through this array. In my result contains 28 arrays. I have to iterate each array, and inside this I have value, and from the value I have to get the title. So just observe this one carefully. What I will do, I will expand it for you. This is the result set. This is the one. If I expand it, forget other error, whatever you are seeing, just forget it. This is related to us. If I'll expand it, now over here you can see value is there. If I expand it, all these are there. So what I will do, I will keep open. I will go back to my browser and we will try to fetch the list title out of it so that you'll get a better understanding. So guys, I will go back to my service.ts file. This is my service.ts file. Over here console.log result. After that, what I have to do, now I told you result contain array. So what I have to do, I have to iterate through each array. For that I have two options. I can use for each, or I will use map method. So map method is the latest in ESCX. So I will go with map method because it requires less line of code. So what map will do, results dot value. You remember I have value over here. You remember I have values over here. See, result is this, and now I have to go to value. So result dot value. So these things you have to do. Just whenever you are doing any coding and you are getting the result, just try to see those results in your console and accordingly just format your result. So results dot value dot map I will use. What map will do? Map will give me all the arrays one by one. So it will give me the first array. So I will take this again first array in the form of result. Over here I have results. I will take result over here. Again I will keep, if I am not aware about the data type, in TypeScript I will use any. So side by side I am giving you TypeScript concepts also. One is like this, any, I have told you. And then we are use let. The same way we have var string. Let is also there in TypeScript. Again arrow function, this one and this. Now I have got result also. Now from the result I have to fetch the title. So what I have to do, now I am in my first array like this. I am in my 0th array. Over here I have to just get the title. Now I will put this all the results into an array which will be of type I drop down option, and which I will return it to my component date mount method. For that what I will do, I will again over here at the top declare an array of type I drop down option. So what I will do, after this my string, I will declare var, I will say list titles because it will contain list titles. It will be of type I drop down option, and it will be of type array. Over here I will declare blank array. So now this is also done. I will go into this. Now what I will do, list titles. Now list title is my array dot push. I will use this push method to push into the array items into the array, and I will say now the concept of I drop down option is having key value pair. If I'll go to I drop down option over here, you can see over here, I'll go back for you. From here I will go, this is I drop down option. Over here it is saying it is depreciated. So I will go to this extend file, I selectable option F12, and in this I selectable you can see I have this key, text. These two are mandatory and others are this question mark, this is optional. So in I drop down option, whenever I am using I drop down option, it is mandatory to use these two properties, key and text. So I will use these two. So these are few ways how things are connected in SPFX. You have to just use it. So like I'm using I drop down option. I don't know about I drop down option. I simply did F12. I go through that file. Now in that file I can see these options are there. Again I will show you these options are there. Text, key. So I told you question mark means optional, but these two are mandatory. So I will put key over here, key colon result dot title, title T capital. Next is text colon result dot title. So these two things I've done. So now I will do Control S. So now from here I have completed this method. If you are still confused, don't worry, I will explain you again. Let me complete the flow first. Now this method, what this method is doing, it is returning me list title of type I drop down option. I am getting all the array. I have to just populate these options into my drop down. For that I will go to my component file from where I am calling this method. I am calling it from here. So once it will receive the result, what it will do, then again the same way we were doing, what we will do, again we will say I'm getting my result will be of type I drop down option. Definitely this time it will return and it will be of type array, and arrow function arrow, these are the syntax. Okay, I'm getting an error if I delete over here. Now okay, without array it is working fine. So now this issue with my item return, which I'm returning from sp dot. Okay, over here I'm saying I will return only I drop down option, but I'm returning an array. So I will put over here this array thing, and then I have to change at some places because of this array. Okay, I have to change on my return new promise. Over here I have to change, and I think that's it. Yeah, fine. So I just made an error. I have to put array in my return type. I'll go to my file. Now it is working fine with the array. Now in this result I am getting an array. I have to just set the state. Already in the state I have declared another array. Where is my state? I will go to my state. I will close all these files. This is my state. Over here I have declared list titles of type this. So what I will do, I told you to set the state, what I have to use, this dot set state bracket curly bracket, state is list titles, and I will assign it result, and I think that's it. Now my drop down will get populated. It's as simple as that. The browser is already running. I will just go to the browser. This is my browser. I will refresh my page. If you face any error, we will fix it. So over here you can see still our drop down is not getting populated. So I will tell you the main reason why it is not getting populated. So let's go back to the code. Over here you see this SP services file. So now I told you, over here there is a promise. So our promise will return two things, resolve and reject. So why it is not returning anything? Because we have not written a single thing. Neither we have written the resolve for our promise nor the reject. So just to tell you this, once the promise is completed, so you have to it is mandatory to provide the resolve statement. Whatever you want to return from your method, we will pass that in my resolve. So what I will do, see over here I am populating list title, so I have to return my list title. So I will do after my then method. So my then method is this method, response.json. So in this method I was doing everything. So what I will do, I will go to this. Over here I will do resolve and I will pass list titles. So now my method should work, and it is not mandatory to provide any error thing, but we will do that also. I will tell you how to do that. So after resolve, just go to this, after this bracket comma, put one bracket, error of type any. In the same method it will not return anything, void your arrow function, and over here you can say reject. You will provide the reject, and inside this you can say error occurred plus error. So now this is my complete method, and now my drop down should get populated. So you can see now I provide the resolve as well as for the reject. So gulp serve is already running, reload message I can see. So I will go back, I will refresh, and now this time my drop down should get populated. And over here if I click on it, you can see I'm getting all my list titles. So these all are the lists present in my site collection. So finally we are able to populate our drop down. So now we will do few custom things, few cosmetic things for our drop down. So what I will do, over here you can see if I refresh it, I'm not getting any message, my drop down is blank. So I will provide the initial message, that is we can say select your list title, whatever the message you want to provide, that I can provide. So we will see to provide the message what we have to do. So for that I will go to my drop down. So this is my drop down in the web part class. Yes, so come down, come back to react.tsx, because in this I have this render method. So this is to provide the initial message I will use placeholder. So placeholder is the property, and I will say it will take string. Select your option. Select the list title. I will just select list title, or select your list. Select your list, and now my drop down should get this message initially on load. So we will wait for the message, that is reload, because I will be able to see reload message in my terminal once I get that message. So I will refresh my browser. Another thing which I already covered, that SharePoint Workbench does not get automatically refreshed. The browser does not get automatically refreshed. That functionality is limited till my local workbench. Over here I have to manually refresh. So I'll do Control F5, and you can see this message, select your list. I'll click on it and I can select any list. So guys, this is how I will implement the drop down. This is how you can implement the drop down functionality. This is how you can populate the function. So all these things are related to the drop down. So till now we have covered this functionality out of the CRUD operation, that is we have read the operations, we have read from our SharePoint list. So read I have covered. So guys, that's it for today's video. If you like this video, please like and share the video and subscribe to the channel, and do not forget to press the bell icon to get the notification for my new videos. If you are facing any issue, or if you are having any doubt, you can reach out to us through YouTube comments, and you can also mail us on our official email ID, that is contact@dstechmirror@gmail.com. Also, we have created a group over Facebook. You can join that group and we can collaborate over there. And if you want all the updates from the Office 365 world, you can follow me on Twitter. Till my next video, thank you.